What's going on, you wild rascals? This is Henry Hill from Cinephellas Studios out west here in Illinois, down in the dirty central Illinois here, Cinephellas Studios. And I'm with my mate here, Logan Myerz. He's in that dirty upper northern Illinois, lake in the hills, getting lit in the hills. What's going on, my friend? You ready to talk about the top movies of the year?
I'm ready to get turned up in 2021. Great to be here tonight, mate. It's good to see your beautiful face. And let's talk best movies of 2020. One of the fucking worst years of our lives.
God,
It
terrible.
was kind of a shit year for movies, too, in the entertainment business. But there were some good flicks that we can dive into. So let's get to it, shall we?
We shall. Who wants to go first? You want to go with your list? Let's hear your top five, sport.
Yeah, my number 5 on my top 5 of 2020. I'm going to go with Pixar's Onward that came out on my birthday, March 6th. Really love this movie a lot. My favorite Pixar movie of the year. I really enjoyed Soul, but I like this one a little more. Voiced by Tom Holland, Chris Pratt. They're two brothers. They go on this quest to bring their father back. He died when they're young. Really great story, really great animation, and it's my number 5 for best movies of the year.
A beautiful choice. Pixar does it again. I love the combination of Chris Pratt and Tom Holland in those roles as brothers. Thought it was really cool. They did a great job together. I like their chemistry. It was kind of cool seeing them come over from the Marvel universe and team up for this movie. And yeah, it had a really good story that we both can relate to. Obviously, having both fathers, you more than me because you actually lost your father. So I'm sure this one hit you.
Yep.
Hits you in just the right spot. You could relate to it a lot. And I love what they did here. I thought it was really great too.
Yeah, absolutely. It took me 3 times to finish it because it hit a little too close to home, losing my dad. So it definitely, all the heartstrings, all the emotions in this movie, great story, great messages like they always do in Pixar. Having his older brother be his father is like a father figure in the movie, kind of guiding him in the direction of life and going on this quest. It had a really great story to it, and definitely one of the better films of the year.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love the whole rock tone to it. They were kind of like kids in high school wearing band t-shirts like we did, driving the crazy van with the Slayer vibes, listen to heavy metal and stuff. I thought that was really cool.
The stoner van, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. The classic stoner van from high school that we all had been in at one point or another.
We have.
Yeah, absolutely. I really love, Onward was great. And speaking of Onward, on one of my top 5 movies of 2020, we'll just go with the whole Pixar vibe. And I think it was on your list as far as some of the top movies, maybe not in your top 5, but in my top 5 was Disney Pixar Soul, starring Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey. Another great story, more adult oriented, I'd say, than even Onward was. And it deals with some heavy stuff like the afterlife. And I loved how they did it. They used some really interesting animation, some really cool animation with strings, and sort of had a Picasso look to some of the people in the afterlife, and even some dark themes too, of like people stuck not knowing if they're going to be able to move on basically to heaven, or they don't know their purpose in life, so they're kind of stuck in purgatory, I guess you could say. So it's about this character, Joe Gardner, who's a jazz musician character, and he's actually a teacher in high school. And he's sort of lost his passion. He's always wanted to be a jazz musician, but he's never landed the perfect gig. Well, in the beginning, we see him at school, and the kids that he's teaching, they aren't too into jazz. They're not too talented. Maybe 1 or 2 kids are good, and he's kind of always longing to play in a jazz band. And just so happens that he goes to this jazz club, and he gets invited on stage to play the piano, and he crushes it. There's this lady that's singing, and it's a whole band, and they need a piano player, and he comes up and he has a great show, and they invite him to do more shows. So he is on cloud 9. This is finally gonna be his big break. He's found his passion. He's gonna go on to play live shows, play jazz live like he's always wanted to, and he ends up falling into a manhole and we think dying, and he kind of ends up going into another dimension, basically, kind of in between heaven and hell and life and death. And he kind of has to figure out what to do from here because he doesn't know whether to go to the light or, what he's going to do. He's kind of halfway in a coma in a hospital, and he comes across this soul that is lost, and he plays the mentor to that character, and that character is played by Tina Fey.
And that's in the Great Before, they call it in the film, is where the souls that don't have the spark for life or haven't been to Earth yet, they have mentorship there, and they send them to Earth in the Great Before. And then the Great Beyond is where going to the light, right? So that's where Joe meets Tina Fey's character, 22, is in the Great Before. And, going back to Earth and seeing the purpose and the greatness of living a life, right? So that's pretty much the setup of their relationship in the movie, of them going back into the world, into Earth.
I liked how they did that, how they swap bodies, and they got to live as each other, kind of like Joe got to see it from a perspective of somebody that is appreciative of everything in life, doesn't take anything for granted like he has taken for granted throughout his life. So it kind of changes his perspective on things. And by the end of the movie, we see him kind of find his spark, and we see him with 22, kind of find 22 spark as well. So it comes full circle in the end, and it's really well done. It touches on all the heartstrings, and the soundtrack is terrific. It's by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross.
It had that really cool synthesizer tone to it, which you would want to hear from these guys. They do all the David Fincher movies, but it really had really elevated the movie, I guess, in those scenes where they're going to the Great Before and the Great Beyond. You can hear that little synthesizer, beep, 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 beep. It was cool. Set a really nice tone to that. Great atmosphere. It's kind of like a cosmic wonderland is the best way to describe it, where they're going, where these souls are at, and then going back to Earth. And I think they'll probably get nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, I can imagine they'll get nominated for sure for the soundtrack or for the score on this movie. And yeah, I loved how it played within the movie, and I love the big pirate ship that's kind of going through, and they see the lost souls, and it's kind of when they show the captain of the ship, and then they show him in real life. He's like a hippie. He's one of those. He's a hippie guy, and he's one of the sign twirlers on the streets, trying to go here, buy here, flipping the sign around that you always see, trying to grab people's attentions. And basically, we see him in this other dimension, and he's sort of the captain of the ship, and they're going along trying to find 22 with Joe. But yeah, Soul is a really great movie. One of the top Pixar movies of all time, I'd say. I'd put it in the top 5, and definitely one of the top movies of the year without a doubt.
Yeah, that came out on Christmas, so about a week ago. So if you guys haven't seen it, definitely check it out on Disney Plus. It's well worth it. We've watched it a few times now. It's really well done across the board, and the most intellectual Pixar movie to date, probably.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not one you can just passively watch. You got to pay attention because there's a lot of deep detail and meaning throughout the film, and it's not one probably to watch with a small child. It's more for a kid, probably going into more, I'd say, middle school, high school age, for them to grasp the concepts and everything. But it deals with concepts that we're all thinking about as we grow older. So,
yeah, I mean, things that we're questioning in our 30s. I think the whole message I got out of this, you don't need a purpose in life. You need to live your life, and enjoy the small things in life. That's what I got out of it. And it makes you question your life when you're older, working your day job. Did I make all the right decisions? Am I living my life to the fullest? Things I question after watching this movie.
Right. And don't be too busy don't be too busy with your work to let everything slip, because life goes so fast that you're going to miss some things that you take for granted, that you're not really paying attention to. You're focusing all your energy on trying to make a living, but you got to soak up the time that you get with your family members and everything, because you never know when that stuff can be taken away.
Yep, absolutely. So it definitely hits on a lot of things. It's a great, really well-written story, and definitely one of the better films of the year. Soul.
I'll go ahead and jump into another one of my top 5 movies of 2020, and it also has to do with music, and I think this was on your list as well. It stars Riz Ahmed and Olivia Cook. It's called The Sound of Metal, and it premiered on Amazon Prime I believe, in November. And it deals with Riz Ahmed's character and Olivia Cooke's character. They're both in a punk band, and they go around in their van, or is it a van or RV? Van, I think it is, or RV. It's an RV. So their characters are in a punk band, and they tour the country in their RV. And Riz Ahmed is the drummer, and Olivia Cooke plays the singer of the punk band. And Riz Ahmed's character slowly starts losing his hearing. Actually, it happens kind of in the movie. All of a sudden, it goes bad one day. He just starts hearing an intense ringing, and he can't hear anything. And another movie that, I'm sure relates to you being a drummer. So I'll let you take this one, Sport. How'd you feel about it?
Yeah. It's my number 4 of the best movies of the year. So I really enjoyed it. I just watched it a few weeks ago. It was something I could relate to, playing drums for a long time. I'm definitely going deaf, losing my hearing from playing and not wearing, ear protection. And I thought it was just a really great story, fleshed out characters. Riz Ahmed was one of his best performances today. Olivia Cooke was really fantastic in it, and can't say enough great things about it. It's pretty perfect. It's depressing as hell, but it's a good movie. It's like it's slow, but it's a really good story, and you feel for the characters in it and what happens to them at the end.
Absolutely, and it also deals with addiction as well, because Riz Ahmed's character, as well as Olivia Cooke's character, although they never really show it too much, they're both addicted and have been using heroin. And that also, I'm sure, has contributed to his condition in a way or another. So basically, Riz Ahmed's character, Ruben, ends up meeting kind of like an Alcoholics Anonymous kind of thing for the people that are deaf. So he basically is going to have to learn sign language. He's going to have to basically start all over. He's going to have to learn to communicate and go through life in this new way, not being able to hear things. He's going to have to, redo his whole life, how he moves forward and everything. And he meets this guy that is the, I don't know what you call him. He's the owner and runner of this place that treats all these people that are going deaf. And it's played by the actor Paul Raci, and he is actually deaf in real life. So they picked up on that, and they casted him in this movie based on that. And I thought he did a really good job. He was very sympathetic to everything. He could relate, and he had some great advice for Ruben's character, like moving forward. He basically said, "You're going to have to come in this house. You're going to have to, you're going to have to give me your phone. You're going to have to isolate here for a couple months. We're going to have to do some intense things here to get you back on track and break you of your addiction to drugs, as well as, make you learn how to communicate in a new way without being able to hear." Did you also notice that the actress Lauren Ridloff played Diane? She was one of the characters in The Walking Dead. So she must be really, I don't know if she is actually deaf. I'm assuming so, because she does sign language in that show as well. And she plays the character that starts teaching Joe sign language in the film.
I didn't know that.
Ruben, he agrees to go to this place where he can learn sign language and hopefully break his addiction to heroin. And Olivia Cooke's character, Lou, ends up going back to France, where her father lives. They're going to have to break up. They're dating also. They're in a relationship. And she goes back to her home. And after Ruben gets out of this place, he basically, gets what he can out of it. He starts to learn sign language, but he's missing Lou so much, and he wants to go find her after this to get back together. That's his hope, hope to continue on their relationship and find a way to move forward. So he ends up going to find her, and we end up meeting Lou's father, and they've had a tumultuous relationship over the years, but we see her in a totally different place. Before, we saw razor blade cut marks on her arms and things, and she was, in bad shape. Her eyebrows were shaved. So it appears that she's broken her addiction to heroin as well. She's singing and doing more like operatic music with her father. And Ruben can see that it's not going to be the same anymore. And basically that's towards the tail end of the movie. And like we said, it's not the most uplifting movie, but it's got a powerful ending. I thought the last scene was really well done. Just like him finally realizing what he's going to need. He's going to need to go on in life, and he kind of picks up on some sounds. He got some good advice. About how to actually hear some things and pick up on things in nature, and that was from that character Joe too. He says you're gonna have to be able to focus on things, and you'll actually be able to hear them. The stillness of life is what you should seek. So he's kind of finally finds that inner peace at the very end, and I thought it was very well done ending. It kind of got to me a little bit.
Yeah, that's when you know it's a good movie, when you feel connected to it in some way, and it brings out emotions from you. And definitely one of the best flicks of the year. I didn't really know what to expect with it. It was definitely more depressing than I predicted, but besides that, it's really a well done movie.
Absolutely, a winner for Amazon Prime for sure, and I want to see more from old Uncle Riz Ahmed. He's been great the past couple films we've seen him in, and his TV show as well.
Yeah, he always puts out really great performances in everything he's in. I love the Night Of on HBO. He was fantastic in that.
He was. Olivia Cook's awesome too. We saw her. We've seen her.
Motel.
Yeah, from Bates Motel, and she's done some movies lately. Yeah, she's really talented.
Yeah, she is. Bring back Bates. I miss that show. Another movie that's on my list, one of my favorite flicks, independent films I was very surprised by. I'm talking about Becky. They came out earlier this year. I interviewed the directors, Jonathan Millett and Carrie Murnian. Talked about the film, making it with Lulu Wilson. Basically, her family's at the lake house, and there's these convicts that show up and just start wreaking havoc on each of the family members. Joel McHale plays the dad in the movie. Lulu Wilson is Becky. She's like the badass little kid that ends up, taking on all these convicts and killing them one by one. And Kevin James is the main convict in the movie. Really dark role for him. Like, we're used to like stupid comedies that he's in, but this is a straight drama for him. Dramatic performance, no comedy, and he was really great in it. Very surprised by it, Becky. Really fantastic movie. So if you guys haven't seen it, check it out. Number 3 on my list.
Need to check that out. From the reviews I read, did it have sort of a Home Alone feel to it?
Yes. Yeah, it was like a Home Alone in the woods.
But more gory, right?
Yeah, it was gory as fuck. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of gore. There's a lot of splattering in this movie and really great kill scenes. Like, I couldn't believe it. I watched it a few times, actually, because I love the kill scenes. But yeah, it's Home Alone on steroids.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait to watch it. It sounds like a awesome movie.
Yeah, the directors did Cooties, which is another great horror flick with Elijah Wood. So they definitely have a lot of good practical effects.
Nice. All right. The next movie on my list of top movies of 2020, I'm going to go with The Invisible Man, starring everybody's favorite. Why can't I think of her last name? I'm blanking. Elizabeth
Moss.
So, God. So I'm going to go with The Invisible Man as one of my top 5 movies of 2020, starring Elizabeth Moss, everybody's favorite gal.
Who?
You remember, she starred, of course, on Mad Men to begin with. That's where everybody found out about her at first, and now she's moved on to The Handmaid's Tale, which completely blew her up. Well, anyways, she's in this movie directed by Lee Winnell. It's a Blumhouse picture, and I really liked how they did everything. I liked the whole concept of The Invisible Man, how they did it with the suit, with all the mirrors. It felt plausible, like believable. It wasn't like something totally crazy that you couldn't believe. This is, something that we could probably see in maybe a decade's time. I could see some technology coming forward. The military is probably going to use something like this as far as invisibility kind of cloak. Anyways, Elizabeth Moss is in a relationship with this abusive guy. Actually, the beginning scene is really, really well done. I loved how they set up all the suspense and everything. It gets you right into the movie. Yeah. She's trying to escape out of bed, escape this abuser. And so it shows her sneaking out of bed.
Oliver Jackson Cohen. Oh!
Oliver Jackson Cohen from, of course, the great Mike Flanagan Haunting of Hill House. And we just saw him in The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Hey, lads.
He's a handsome lad. handsome tall lad. But he's a real dick in this movie. He's an abuser. She's trying to escape, and she's almost out the door when all the alarms trip. He wakes up and he goes and chases after her. It sets up this really awesome scene. I loved how they filmed that there, right on the edge, right on the seawall edge. She has to like jump over a fence and jump into all these over a rock wall and run. And she gets out to the road and finds somebody. I think is there a car out there or somebody drives by? Well, anyway, she gets in and he runs right at the car, breaks the window. A lot of suspense. Love the music. The score is great in this. Lee Winnell, of course, did Upgrade for Blumhouse, and that movie was terrific as well. And I thought this one was a step up from that even, and I really loved what they did with this. All the effects were cool. As far as, they didn't have to have a big budget too, because, they saved the big budget stuff for a few scenes, but most of it was just, playing with your imagination as far as somebody being there, but you can't see them.
Absolutely. That was the last movie I saw in theater in February. It's been almost a year. I can't believe that. Since I've been to the movie. It's been the longest I've ever gone in my life without going to the movies. And it was such a fantastic movie. I didn't really know what to expect with that movie, Invisible Man, either. And it would really surpass all my expectations. Really great performances, really great suspense. I thought everything looked really great. All the camera work, directing in the film as well. Lee Winnell is becoming one of my new favorite directors. And I can't wait to see where he goes with the next horror flick he does. But yeah, definitely one of the best flicks of the year.
Absolutely. Yeah, I loved how Elizabeth Moss played the, traumatized character. She played that really well. You could tell she was going through a lot of emotional and physical trauma throughout the film, and at the end she gets her revenge, and that was really cool to see. And I wouldn't be surprised if we actually could maybe see a sequel moving forward, following her character with what happens at the end. So I'd be down if Lee Winnell would come back for maybe The Invisible Woman.
Ooh, I could see that. I'd be all over that, actually. And that could happen. I thought he was going to do another Universal, I guess, monster movie like Dracula or something. Was he going to do?
Yeah, he may have signed on for one of those.
Was the Wolfman? Was it the Wolfman with Ryan Gosling? Can't remember.
Maybe that. Yeah, I think that is it. Actually, yeah, I think it is the Wolfman. That sounds awesome. Ryan Gosling and the Wolfman.
Yeah,
I'm down. Yeah,
I'm all about that.
And they totally needed a reset of the whole Universal classic monsters. They kind of ruined that with the big budget Tom Cruise Mummy movie, and yeah, it just didn't work out. So I was happy to see The Invisible Man reset that, so we can get it right this time. And so far, based on The Invisible Man, they got it right. And moving forward, let's hope the Wolfman with Ryan Gosling is just as good.
So the next one on my list would be Tenet. God bless Christopher Nolan, and God bless watching that at home instead of the theater.
I saw it in theaters, bro.
Yeah, I know you did.
And two other people, yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, I wish I would have went to the movies, but
it was the same thing as watching at home. There was 2 people in the crowd,
Honestly, watching it, the 4K version in my room, I thought it looked beautiful, and I had the subtitles on it after watching it the second time. It made more sense, I guess. Yeah, I loved it. I love the movie. It's my number 2 favorite flick of the year. Well done. We love Christopher Nolan here. We love the cast. We love the espionage thriller vibe it has, and a mind fuck of a movie, but it's really well done. It's Christopher Nolan.
It's Christopher fucking Nolan. You're not going to understand everything. You're just going to have to accept that. You're not going to be able to explain what's going on, so don't even try unless you write a dissertation paper on it. I'd have to analyze that thing. I could not tell the top of my head exactly what's happening.
You would have to pick it apart for 6 months to write that. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's so many ways you can look into it. But yeah, it's definitely better the second time around too. I think you catch on to more stuff. And
I can't wait to watch it again, and pick up on the things that I missed the first time. I love the performances though. I thought Denzel's son was great in the lead. He didn't have too much to say, but I thought he played the part very well. The lines he had, and he played like the cool James Bond kind of character. And he had his mate there, Robert Pattinson, who I thought did a great job too. They were very believable in the roles. All the sequences were really what the fuck, crazy. I don't know how they did any of that. It's did they just rewind I'd love to see all the secrets and
The making of.
Yeah, the making of, like how they did all that.
I
Defying
like.
physics and everything and entropy and all that. It's kind of mind bending.
Yeah, we just have to think about Ohm's law.
Yeah, I was terrible at physics, so yeah, don't
Yeah,
expect
so
me
was
to
I.
try to put all the pieces together.
Yeah. Look past that. Just really great performances, really mindfuck of a movie. Fun movie, great effects, great directing, camera work, cinematography, That
Pounding
Nolan
score, boom.
and the pounding score, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I liked it a lot better than his last flick, Dunkirk. I
sure.
like Tenet a lot more. So, yeah, number 2 on my list of 2020 movies. Number 2, Tenet.
Tenet, Christopher Nolan, another great Christopher Nolan film. I'd put it in the same vein along with Inception. Inception's higher on my list as far. I think
Yeah.
Inception's probably my favorite, either that or The Dark Knight, I'd say. But definitely worthy. Can't wait to see what he does next. I mean, at this point, who knows what it's going to be? It's just always out there, always very intriguing, and just count on having to turn the subtitles on when you get it on home video because you'll miss some dialogue because he likes to use the muffled kind of dialogue that you can't always understand. And people always complain, but honestly, it's at this point, it's just what he does. You're going to have to accept it. If you don't like him to begin with, you're not going to like him anymore from this film. But if you're a big Christopher Nolan buff, like all the fellas are, it was definitely on my top movies of 2020 list as well. And the next film that I'm going to mention on the top movies of 2020 is a film that I believe is also it might be your top one as well, but my top movie of 2020 that really stuck with me this whole year was the Netflix original starring our good mate that we just mentioned, Robert Pattinson and Tom Holland, Bill Skarsgård, The Devil All the Time.
Delusions.
Delusions. Just a
Yeah.
great story, a gritty kind of, yeah, dirty South.
Yeah, corruption, brutality, dirty, shitty people, and shitty
religious weasels.
religious weasels. Yeah, we love Robert Pattinson here. Oh, Robert. Yeah, another great fucking performance by him as a southern preacher with a kind of nasally, high pitched voice. Tom Holland, probably one of his best performances to date. He was really awesome in this movie. He went to some
Yeah.
dark places and just I don't want to say too much if people haven't seen this, but it's brutal. It's a great drama, great thriller, really great performances, and such a gritty southern flick, and a lot of great actors. Check it out.
We got to mention our uncle Jason Clarke being in the film.
I sure do love those boys.
He plays himself as he does often, but he does a great job at doing that in this one. He's very, very weaselly in this. He's very creepy. He plays a photographer, we'll just say that likes to take compromising photos. And he ends up meeting with Tom Holland in the film. And some shit goes down with that. But yeah, we see Tom Holland beating some ass in this. We see him taking out revenge that's gone on generationally from his father passed on to him. And then we see it come full circle by the end of this film. But like you mentioned, yeah, Robert Pattinson was awesome. The actor that we saw from Harry Potter's in this as well.
Harry Mellon. Harry Mellon.
He looks a lot different. He was the chubby kid in the Harry Potter films.
Dudley.
Yeah, Dudley. He has a huge head. Like, I don't know I guess his forehead's really big. He's a very strange looking guy, but yeah, in this role, he was very creepy and unsettling as another preacher. He has this kind of crazy scene in the church where he just like dumps all these snakes out all over himself. It's, yeah.
Or was it spiders? Was it?
Oh, yeah, spiders. Yeah, you're right. Spiders.
Spider. Yeah.
So
yeah.
he has this crazy scene in the middle of the church. He's giving a sermon and he takes out a bag and dumps all these spiders all over himself. People are screaming, ah! So yeah, that was a memorable scene. And like you mentioned, yeah, Robert Pattinson's Southern Baptist. He put on a totally different accent for this. I thought he did a great job. Yeah, we just find out that everybody's kind of crooked in this and their morals are all over the place. It feels kind of like the Moonshine era as far as the grittiness of it, where it was filmed, the darkness of the film. Like everything's very dark in the film, but it's so well done. It just stuck with me after I watched it. I can't wait to see what Tom Holland does after this. He's my most impressive performance out of the film. I thought I can't wait to see him in this upcoming Russo brothers film Cherry. I think he's going to do a great job in that. So
he's playing a drug addict in that, right?
yeah, he's drug addict and also like post-traumatic stress. I think he was a soldier before, so he comes home from the war, and he starts robbing banks and that. So yeah, really looking forward to that, and that'll be out in March on Apple TV Plus, I believe.
Hell yeah, yeah. This kid's really impressing me. Obviously Spider-Man, but I think this is really showing his acting chops, like what he can do.
Yep.
He's gonna be in the new Uncharted, the video game that's being made into a movie. So
he could be the next Indiana Jones for the next generation. Yeah, we'll see how he does.
Yeah,
cool love those games.
Yeah, me too. Good times. I can't wait to see that flick coming out. I don't even know when that comes out.
I don't know. I think it's still filming, or it might have recently wrapped. But yeah, him and Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg plays Sully, the character with the mustache and the stogie, his companion on all the adventures throughout that series. So yeah, really looking forward to that one. Can't wait. Love the pictures that we saw. He's playing a young Nathan Drake in that. So yeah, his career's on the up and up. Can't wait to see where he goes from here. But everybody should definitely check out the Netflix original film, The Devil All the Time. One of the best films for sure of 2020. My favorite film of 2020 for sure.
And my favorite film of the year as well, The Devil All the Time. Very surprised by it, but holy shit, was it good. It was a good flick from start to finish. So definitely check it out if you've not seen it. And now we're going to talk about some of the worst movies of the year. There's plenty of those to sum up, pretty much sum up the year 2020. It was a dumpster fire, pretty shitty year. And thankfully we had the podcast to kind of keep our sanity, just still talk about movies and all that fun stuff. But there's a lot of shitty movies put out this year. And I'm going to kick it off with Capone, which we both, I think we reviewed. And it was a dumpster fire with Tom Hardy really shitting himself throughout the entire performance in the film. He's playing a sick Al Capone in his dying days and just a mess. It's syphilis and whatever else and dementia, and he just grunted the whole time and just was not a good depiction of Al Capone, the character that we know from history.
No, and I blame a lot of the movie on Josh Trank, the direction and the story. I think Tom Hardy would have nailed it. I mean, with a better story, Tom Hardy probably would have killed it. It was just the storyline and everything, and some of the choices they made. I was like, what are you guys doing? It was kind of like Al Capone's kind of hallucinogenic kind of dream, the way they filmed it and everything. It just was all over the place. Wasn't good. I was totally looking forward to it. It was one of my top movies I was looking forward to, and it was just like a big disappointment right off the bat. It kind of set the stage for the rest of the year as far as what happened. So yeah, definitely one of the worst films of the year. Josh Trank's Capone.
Yep. A movie that you guys probably shouldn't watch if you've not seen it, because it's not worth your time. Big pile of shite. And then another movie that we watched together and reviewed, David Ayer's The Tax Collector. Hey, Creeper, you okay, man? Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. Another film that we were both really looking forward to. The poster looked great. The way they cut the trailer even made it look like it was going to be pretty cool. Another classic David Ayer film we were hoping for. But ultimately, and also we were hoping for Shia LaBeouf to just kill it in the role, but he's in it for like 10 minutes. The acting is stiff and wooden, terrible performances, nothing whatsoever memorable about it. I can't remember anything. I just remember a couple of shitty parts with bullets flying. Just overall, just really bad. Ugh. I was so disappointed in the film.
Yeah, obviously it's forgettable since we don't remember much. It's just the cliche David Ayer, LA, crime world that we've seen, just in really, really bad direction in the film, that it's not even memorable, not even comparable to like End of Watch or his other films. Just very forgettable, and it sums up the year 2020.
For sure. He's had a couple bad movies, the past couple ones he's done. So I'm hoping he can get back on track. His last good one was Fury. So I'm hoping he kind of gets back to his roots, with this and Suicide Squad. There were two trailers that were awesome, and the films just did not live up to it. So definitely one of the worst films of 2020. And speaking of the whole superhero thing, mentioning Suicide Squad, one of the worst films of the year, Birds of Prey. Just overall cheese, terrible effects, like fireworks going off in the background for explosions. Margot Robbie was like maybe one of the only good things out of it, just because she's always awesome. I thought she was a little better than she was in the first Suicide Squad. She had more to do in this film, but just bad action scenes. They're on roller skates. Shit was just pure camp. Ewan McGregor's villain character, just really bad.
I remember how pissed off you were when didn't you go see this in the movie theater?
Yep.
Yeah. Because I saw it and I texted you and you were all pissed off. You're like, man, that was bad. That was so bad.
Damn.
It was. It had a lot of potential, but it's, DC and they don't know what they're doing. And they just went about it in like a comedic approach instead of like a serious approach.
Right.
Like a lot of the other movies. I get it. They're trying to have fun and do something different, but it didn't work. Didn't work. It was bad.
No, it was bad. Yep. Colorful and vibrant, I guess you can say. But yeah, just not a good film at all. Forgettable. I got the Blu-ray from Warner Brothers and probably won't ever watch it again.
Yeah, pretty much. I saw it at the theater once. I'm good.
Yeah.
Leads into the next movie from DC Warner Brothers, Wonder Woman 1984. What a huge disappointment that was for me. And just couldn't get into it at all. Tone was all over the place and didn't know what it wanted to be. Couldn't find its footing. A lot of characters that were pretty lackluster, really shitty villain. Ending was really lame. And overall, just really disappointed because I went in with higher expectations. I love the first movie for the most part, minus the third act. But I was expecting a lot more from Patty Jenkins, and it just disappointed and pissed me off.
Yeah, I was too. Patty Jenkins, she's going to be directing the next Star Wars film, so you really want her to like hit a home run with this, leading into that, get some good momentum behind the next Star Wars film, because the buzz hasn't been all great for the Star Wars movies lately. We need to get it back on track. We need to get it up to Mandalorian quality. But yeah, I was disappointed as well. I was feeling it a little bit at the beginning, like, okay, I'm accepting it's in the 80s. Another bad choice for the film, they didn't use any 80s music. There were maybe one or two small samples, but then they just ignore it. It's like, you're saying it's 1984, you're showing us some clothes and stuff, but you got to have 80s music, at least for an action scene or two. I was like, during the trailer, they even played Blue Monday. So I was like, where's all the music here?
Yeah, it totally didn't feel like it was in the 80s at all, because you need that bumping music, right?
Yeah.
That keeps you pumped up or for the movie, but they just fell flat. I'm like, really just bad choices all across the board. That really annoyed me.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal was good with what he had to work with, but the movie just goes on too long. It's like probably an hour too long, I thought. Like the last hour of the movie just like drags on forever. And kind of their motivations for things, the whole Pedro Pascal wanting oil, and then they just like cut scene to him going to Egypt, and it's just like it felt like a random choice. Like, why go there? I mean, I know oil's there, but just the whole stuff in Egypt wasn't cool. Besides I thought the tank scene with the tanks was kind of cool, but and then the whole cheetah. Barbara Minerva thing didn't work for me at all. Wasted, yeah. The effects for that they just didn't work. It looked like cats to me. It looked bad.
Yeah, it looked bad. And I was saying that DC can never get the CGI right. They just can't. I don't know why. They need to hire new people, I guess, but it just looks fucking fake every movie they do.
Yeah.
Like the action scenes, you want superheroes for you want it to look believable.
Right.
And it's just like, hey, they're in front of a green screen like I am right now.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I know.
It's just bad. It takes me out of the movie, and I just can't take them serious. So what an epic fail, and it came out on Christmas too. So it's like, thanks, Warner Brothers. Thank you, DC. Thank you for that Christmas present. I was a bad boy. I was a bad boy this year, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, not a great start for the whole HBO Max Warner Brothers thing with them releasing the whole 2020 slate. It looks
Yeah.
like Dune's probably going to be held out for the theaters because there was so much backlash, and Christopher Nolan's totally pissed about the whole thing. I do think that they can work it out with some of these films as far as releasing on the streamer, and that's fine. Like we can see the Sopranos movie on HBO. I mean, that's where it started. Why not show it? You know, that doesn't need to be theatrical, I don't think.
No.
So release some of these. I know that, you know, looking at it from Warner Brothers perspective, they had to get rid of some of these films. There's no way they're going to be able to release all these films and have them make money with all the other films that need to come out from all the other studios that had to wait the whole year. So this year is going to be kind of, you know, probably towards the tail end, fall, maybe at the earliest before theaters start opening up. But they're going to have to start releasing this stuff somehow, you know. They're going to have to start opening up the theaters when the whole pandemic is winding down, and they have to get rid of some of the films. But yeah, not a good start for that. I mean, if it was good, it would have been awesome. But yeah, it didn't work for me. I know some people probably like it. They're bigger Wonder Woman fans than us, and that's fine. But yeah, not for us. One of our worst movies of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Another movie I want to bring up real quick, another really terrible one. You Should Have Left came out from Blumhouse this year, starring Kevin Bacon, Amanda Seyfried. Really fucking boring. Nothing happened in it. One jump scare. Really let down. I was really excited for it because it was the director of Stir of Echoes, I believe, and then Kevin Bacon working together. It was just lackluster and forgettable. So I was really disappointed with You Should Have Left.
That movie should have left the fucking screens because it was terrible. No, I haven't even watched it, but I'll take your advice, mate, because we usually know when something's shitty. So
Yeah.
I'll steer clear of that. And also the New Mutants I steered clear of as well. And I know you saw it. You said it was pretty bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really bad.
There was a reason it kept getting delayed, you're saying.
Yeah, I figured that would happen. You know, being delayed, it's been trying to get released for how many years now, and just you could tell there's reshoots. The editing was shitty, and the tone was all over the place. You know, you have good actors in it, actresses. I'm not hating on them. Just bad direction, bad script. You know, just studio getting involved and how many reshoots. It just wasn't cohesive and was a mess. And the ending really pissed me off too.
So steer clear of those worst movies of 2020. Don't even bother. Just before we wrap things up here, during this great chat that we've had, we'll mention a few films that you guys should check out. You know, some movies that we liked, maybe not the best of the year, but are still worth watching. And on my list, I'm going to mention Spike Lee's Defy Bloods. It's a pretty cool story. These three gentlemen that were in the Vietnam War. We catch up with their characters later on in life as they're grown up. And it features a really terrific, probably Oscar-nominated performance from Delroy Lindo. So make sure to check out that film. And that was one of Chadwick Boseman's last films too. And we didn't really know that he was sick. It was kind of not really announced what he had before he was kind of in his later days. So he's real skinny in it. And he was marketed to be in the film more than he actually was. So he's kind of the gel of the whole movie and what those characters are sort of going back to the Vietnam place for, because there was some treasure involved, some gold, and it had to do with Chadwick Boseman's character. But yep, definitely worth watching. A good film. Could be on people's top 5 lists for sure. It was worthy. King of Staten Island with Pete Davidson. It's a Judd Apatow film starring Pete Davidson and Bill Burr. Kind of look at Pete Davidson's life. His father was killed in 9/11. He was a firefighter, and it kind of shows him kind of, you know, after that happened, he kind of didn't move on with his life for a long time. So it's kind of like a sort of semi-autobiography of his life. It had some good moments in it. Not great, but worth checking out. Worth watching one afternoon or one night if you don't have anything else to check out. One of the better horror films of the year, I thought, was The Rental, directed by Dave Franco, and it stars his wife, Alison Brie. It stars, of course, Lip Gallagher, Jeremy Allen White from Shameless. Yep, it was just really well done. I liked it. It has our old mate Toby Huss in it as the creepy, keeper of this rental house that comes over and performs maintenance. Some crazy stuff starts happening at the house. They discover some secrets there. and it goes on from that. But I had a really good time with that. I liked that. I could see a sequel coming from that. It's well done. It's like an independent horror film. It's not over the top. It's something plausible. I thought so. Did you like it too?
Yeah, it was on my honorable mentions list as well. Very believable story. I thought it was shot well. It gets to the point, it doesn't have a lot of extra unneeded, unnecessary stuff to the film. It gets straight to the point. All good performances across the board, had a lot of good suspense in it. And yeah, I highly recommend it.
Yes, absolutely. And keeping on with the horror genre, another one that you guys should definitely check out if you've missed it is another Blumhouse film, Freaky, originally titled Freaky the Friday the 13th. It's a cool little Freaky Friday mixture within a horror film. Vince Vaughn plays a serial killer, swaps bodies with this teenage girl. So it's kind of funny to see Vince Vaughn's performance. He's like acting like a teenage girl in it. He does a really good job. It's like believable. It's not over the top or anything. There's some campy parts in it. You see, you're going to recognize a teacher there played by an 80s star that you'd see in a lot of the 80s movies. It's funny what happens to his character, but yeah, it's just a fun movie. It's nothing great, but it's fun. It's like a nod to the old 80s kind of campy slasher films. So definitely check out Freaky.
I still haven't seen it. I need to watch it. It's been on my list. I had 2 weeks. I still didn't watch it. Yeah, I'll get around to it, but it definitely has my interest, and especially you said it's good.
It is, yep. And the girl's really good. Catherine, I can't think of her last name, but yeah, she does a really good job. She's an actress, definitely to watch coming into her own and being in more films coming up.
Some other honorable mentions I had: Arkansas. We had Clark Duke's directorial debut that also starred Vince Vaughn as a drug kingpin. Came out earlier this year. Liam Hemsworth is in that as well. Really good Southern crime drama. And a really good directorial debut from Clark Duke. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of his movies if he keeps directing. He's a funny guy. And he also stars in that movie as well. Another film, the horror flick, The Lodge. I think that's on Hulu. Really great horror flick that came out this year. I don't want to say too much about it. Really great performances, and it's pretty spooky. It has a good premise to it. So check that out if you haven't seen it. Another movie I think is Blumhouse, The Hunt. Did they do that? Or was that?
Yes.
That meant Universal, right?
Yep. That's right. Yeah, and there was some controversy as far as the whole presidential stuff. How in the film they kind of go after politicians and stuff. So there was some controversy before it's released. I think it got pushed back. I think there was a shooting or something happened and it got postponed for a while. But then, yeah, Blumhouse finally released it. And yeah, definitely a crazy story. The main character, what's her name?
Betty
Gilpin. Is it Gilpin?
Gilpin.
Yeah. Betty Gilpin did a really good job as the heroine in this film. Another gritty film, another revenge flick.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good kill scenes in it, like right from the get-go of the film. We have Dennis from It's Always Sunny. He's in it.
Yeah.
There's a small part. But yeah, a lot of good performances in it. Really surprising. And definitely worth a watch. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. One of the better films of the year. A few other films I want to bring up that are really good that came out this year. The Gentleman. They came out in February. Guy Ritchie's film. Matthew McConaughey, boys. Colin Farrell, a bunch of other people in it. Really.
Hugh Grant.
Yeah, he was really. What's the other guy's name? Charlie Hunnam. There we go.
Charlie Hunnam.
Hey, lads. A lot of great, characters and actors that Guy Ritchie's worked with before, and really good crime story having to do with the drug kingpin with marijuana in England. So a lot of good performances, a lot of funny ass scenes, a lot of great one-liners in the movie, and that was my last of movies to check out from 2020.
2020, the last one that I'll mention that I watched at the very tail end of the year, just having to do with Christmas time, was Fat Man with Mel Gibson. It was a clever what they did there. It's Mel Gibson and Walton Goggins. So definitely check that out. Mel Gibson plays old Kris Kringle. It's a different take on things. It involves Walton Goggins' character coming out to kill old Mel Gibson's Kris Kringle, and won't say much about it because most people haven't seen it yet, but it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
it's a totally different kind of Christmas story. Probably not a classic, but it was memorable. I mean, I watched it. I liked what they did there. It was very unique Christmas themed film anyway. I didn't get the warm feeling of Christmas from it, but it was definitely a new, unique take on the whole Santa Claus thing. So check out Fat Man.
Yeah, I definitely probably won't watch that till next Christmas. The holidays are over. Christmas is over. I don't want to watch anything else.
I know. 2020 was a dumpster fire, like we mentioned. We just got over Christmas and New Year's. We're now in 2021. It's a new year. Let's hope for some hope here. Me working in the the healthcare industry, I'm going to be getting the vaccination coming up. So that's going to be a weight lifted off of me, just having to be around it all the time. Kind of one less thing I'm going to have to worry about. I'm hoping things get back to relative normal here. I hope it doesn't take up most of the year. I hope things start getting better here and that we're able to do what we love, mate. Get out to the theaters more. There's going to be plenty of movies to see, and there's going to be plenty of stuff coming to the streaming services, TV shows coming out. We got a lot of stuff to looking forward to in 2021. So watch out for a video where we will talk about our, upcoming things to look forward in 2021.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to this year, 2021. Last year sucked, but we got a lot of stuff, entertainment, business, industry that's opening up again, production, TV shows, movies, a lot of things being released on HBO Max. So a lot of things to talk about this year. Really excited for it. And hopefully, the thing with the coronavirus pandemic and everything goes back to normal eventually, and we can all see each other in person again and go back to movies. And I'd be a very happy camper if that happened. So we just have to wait and see what happens in the world. And after you get the vaccination, we'll see.
Get ready to get real fucking wild when all this shit's over.
I know. We get tired of hanging out here all the time. I'm like, I need to go out and go on vacation somewhere, get out.
I know. Yeah, for real. I can't wait. Spend too much time indoors. I mean, I'm a homebody, so I'm not that against it. But yeah, even this has been too much. It's kind of time to go somewhere else, clear the mind, get refreshed again.
Go to the beach, go to a concert, do something, get out of the house. So 2021 is hopefully going to be a better year. Thank you to all of you for always following us right here on our YouTube channel, social media pages, and our website, Cinephellas.com. We had a lot of great videos, probably a few hundred in 2020, which is a lot. We talked a lot of movies on the podcast we've been doing all together. So we got plenty more of those coming. We have more movie reviews, TV reviews, Fellas giveaways, and then just more videos of our craziness.
More great shenanigans from the Fellas boys to come. We're going to have a podcast coming up, so stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking to the other fellows, talking about our Christmases. Maybe we got some movies. Maybe we saw some things. So we'll have plenty to discuss on the next Cinephellas podcast. And this has been our top 5 movies of 2020, where we talked about our top movies of the year. We also did our honorable mentions and as well as our worst films of the year. So, Uncle Logan, it's time to go nighty-night on this one. And until next time, from Cinephellas Studios, take it away, Uncle Logan. What do we say?
Cheers!
Man, it's been a wild year with those Cinephellas boys. They're wilder than a jar of molasses in the entire year of 2020. Looking forward to the future year with those boys and joining them on the Cinephellas podcast. And as always, love those rascals, love Uncle Mike Tyson.